welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm starting by making probably the easiest cake I know to make. It is a marble cake essentially, but there is no marbles, but I'll get to that later. So why I say it's the easiest, I looked at the footage and it took me about 15 minutes from the time I pulled out the first ingredient or the first bowl to the time I was putting the cake into the oven. And I don't think it gets any faster than that. The ingredients are pretty simple as well. You will see the full list in the description, but basically it's 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar. I'm also adding vanilla sugar into that, a cup of milk, half a cup of oil, and 2 eggs. And that's it. You then mix it all up and you put it into the form, which is the fun part. You see that already standing in the corner. That's why I love this cake so much, because I just think that it's really, I don't know, nice and fancy maybe. Oh, and I forgot to mention 1 packet of baking powder as well. Now, of course, if I'm using a form like this, I need to make sure that the dough is not going to stick to it. So I'm using some butter to grease it up and then some flour. It is a bit tricky to get it onto that central cone, so I'm doing that over the sink to not get the flour absolutely everywhere. And then the dough goes in. This is the point at which, if you were to make a real marble cake, you would only pour in like maybe a half of the dough, and then you would add cocoa powder into the other half, pour that over it, and then use like a spoon or something to make the swirls. Maybe one day I'll do that too, so you can see the full version of a marble cake. And then it goes into the oven at 200 degrees for about 45 minutes. Once I think it might be ready, I do this test where I use one of my chopsticks, put it into the bottom, all the way to the bottom of the cake, and then if I pull it out and it's completely dry, then I know the cake is ready. Once I take it out, I let it cool off and then make sure it gets out of the form, otherwise it could again stick to it. And then I just sprinkle it with some powdered sugar and it's ready to cut into. It makes for a delicious breakfast, and since it's just the 2 adults here, it lasts us for a couple of days, so it's great and easy on the following days as well. I recently got this gorgeous interior design book called The Art of Home, written by Shay McGee. You may know her. She has done some Netflix shows, and they have a beautiful YouTube channel called Studio McGee. And I've taken some inspiration from it when it comes to styling your pillows. So what she always says is she will do a combination of some solid colors, then some geometrical shapes like lines or checkers or something, and then florals. And it's the florals part that I've never done myself. I've never had floral pillows, but I just love the look that she has in all of her photo shoot, so I thought I would give it a try. So I got some new floral pillow covers, and I'm doing some greens in the back for the solid color, and then like a combination of mustard and creams and like orange-ish colors as well. I thought that that just goes really well with all the spring colors that I can see around us. And I love the result. I think I'll stick to this combination for quite a while. Now, these next shots, they are from my family's country house. So we have this house that's about 50 minutes away from where we live. It has this huge, lovely garden that has a ton of fruit trees. We did the calculations. I think we came to 51 or something. It's mostly apples. Then we've got a lot of plums, some pears as well, cherries, quite a lot of those. What else? And then my parents recently planted some peaches, some apricots as well, and I don't remember, maybe more cherries and pears as well. But you can see that a lot of these trees, they're very old and they have never been really properly kept. So the yield, or what you call it, is not always the greatest, but I mean, it's free, so we'll take it. Now, what I'm showing you here is these huge walnut trees as well. We have a couple of those on the property, but this year we've had some terrible weather where it's been really warm in March and then it got freezing again. So all the trees started blooming and all the trees started growing, and then they froze. And the walnuts have been hit the hardest. So we're really not expecting to have any nuts from them this year, but hopefully, fingers crossed, some of these other trees and bushes, like you see the blueberries here, hopefully they will bear some fruit this year as well. We then also have some raspberries there, and in the very back we've got some red currants and gooseberry, I believe the last bushes are called. Well, regardless of what the harvest will bring, I am so grateful that we have this place, and I cannot wait to start exploring it more with our little one. And here I am in our country home kitchen preparing some apple purees that I use for the baby, of course, a ton, but I really like the taste of those. So even for myself as a snack, I found them to be super handy. And yes, of course you can buy them in a store, but I mean, I like spending my time like this, so that's what I'm making today. So I'm preparing a whole bunch, first peeling the apples, cutting them, choosing the wrong size pot, so I have to transfer them into a bigger one. Then I just pour in water, boil them for 10-20 minutes until they're soft, basically. Once I get the water out, then I just mix them up. So it's an actual puree. I put them into these cute little jars, and then I will use a special pot to put the jars in to then, I guess, what is the process? Sterilization? Is that it? Conservation? I don't really know. I should have Googled this. But oh well, just making sure that they last forever, right? So I'm putting the jars in. My mom told me to not crowd them too much, so I'm only doing like a couple, I don't know, 5 at a time. Pouring water so that it reaches almost to the very top, and then boiling it for 20 minutes. And once they're done boiling, I'm using these handy, I don't know, picky thing, whatever that's called. You can probably see that this is the first time I'm using it, to take them out and then put in the next batch. At first, I was just gonna plop them in, but then my mom warned me to do it really slowly because the jars could actually burst because I'm essentially putting relatively cold jars into boiling water. So I was then being very careful about it, and then I've got in the end maybe 12 jars, something like that, which is going to last me, I don't know, maybe a month, and then I'll do this again. All right, and that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed another video, and I already look forward to making the next one.